The basics for new construction with building permits. So new construction is really where all bits come together. You're putting on virgin land brand new building into existence. Whether it is, say, a smaller structure, something quite humble, let's say like a 750 square foot structure, or you're putting a 4,000 square foot structure together, or a 40,000 square foot structure together. These principles still apply. And as I've said before, I'm located in Joshua Tree, California. However, looking at the International Building Code around the world, what I'm saying is going to be applicable. There's local amendments, perhaps check with them in your local municipality to really make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, okay? So when you're putting a building into the ground, there's a couple buckets you need to think in buckets. The first bucket is architectural, which is something that Terra Projects, we personally take care of all of that in-house, okay? There's architectural. The next bucket is structural. So that is just like it sounds, the structural engineering. So that's going to be both drawings and calculations, okay? The third bucket is anything to do with the earth. So that is going to look like being tied up to your sewer. That's going to look like a septic system, septic pit, leach fields, things like that. That's also going to look like soils testing. That's also going to look like any kind of electrical conduit that's going to be going underground and these sorts of things. So it's everything that's inside of the earth, inside of the ground. Okay, so that's the third bucket. The fourth, which is something that is specific to California, though it might be in other places, is physical, you can call it sort of utility energy, physical utility energy use. So there's energy reports that need to be produced such that it can, if you think of your building as a Pokemon card, you can see the amount of hit points that it has, you can see the potential use in the future, et cetera, et cetera. So think of those efficiency stickers on appliances. It's sort of like that for your building. That's what the municipality wants to see. And then the final bit to wrap all of that together is going to be the management for all four of those buckets. And that's also something that Terra Projects offers as well. Okay, we manage everybody. Everyone's got a direct contract with our patron. And then we have a direct contract to manage the entire team, manage submissions, and manage the interfacing with in our case, the county, but it can be, your local town, your local city. You need somebody that is their responsibility, a single entity, and perhaps a single person within an entity. So for Terra Projects, it's always me that is interfacing with the county directly to make sure that we don't drop anything. Okay, so why is that important? We're talking about new construction. When you're doing new construction, it is fair to say it is very complex, right? There's a difference between complexity and complicated. Complexity, there's a straightforward path. Complicated, no one really knows what the path is. For all building permits, there's a very, very straightforward path. And if you don't know what the straightforward path is, that just means you don't have the knowledge yet. Okay? So when dealing with this, it's very important to understand the framework for how this stuff will get done. So that's the baseline. We're doing new construction. We got to make sure it's real nice and clear. Okay. So now you want to do new construction. Now, where we are located in Joshua Tree, there's no minimum square footages, which is fantastic. So you can do a smaller home for somebody. You can do a smaller accessory building for a patron, which is great. In some municipalities, they have a minimum. So for instance, in a neighboring town, it's 725 square feet. That's the minimum. Here, we could do 500 square feet, 400 square feet, right? So what that does is it begins to give you an understanding of what it is that you can build. Now, when you're doing new construction, it's important to look at the use and the zoning. They're different, the use and the zoning. If you look that up in the code, it begins to tell you how many homes you can do. It begins to tell you certain setbacks that are applicable to your use and zoning as well. So then you know where you can build. And there's little tips and tricks, right? So for instance, if you're doing accessory building, accessory dwelling unit, let's say, it needs to be 1 square foot smaller than the main building. And the main building also needs to be dominant on the site. So there are these little idiosyncrasies that show up to be mindful of when you're doing new construction. And as you saw, I started talking about the team. The team is everything when you're doing a new build. There's a lot on the line, there's a lot of money being spent, and having a solid team is very important. So I'm going to get into team in another video. Have a great day.